Hello friends, my name's James. And this is my 1965 Aalborg 30 sloop SV Traitea. I have been slowly sailing solo around the world since leaving Los Angeles in 2021. This is Rhonda, a Kiwi sailor who moved aboard full-time once I reached Sydney. Join us as we explore the east coast of Australia and see as many wild places and wild animals as possible.
Just down in here.
Oh, wow. As we make our way up to Southeast Asia. So we're getting ready to haul up and sail off of anchor. And I thought I would make a little video explaining the process of sailing on and off of anchor. It's a very, very good skill to have. Whether you have a working engine or not, at some point you may not have a working engine. And if you do this, practice this enough, when you don't need it, if ever comes the time you do need it, then you're very comfortable with the process, and it makes it all a lot less stressful. Today marks 1 month since our engine blew up on us. So we've been sailing on and off at anchor quite a bit here at Lake Macquarie, and on and off of moorings and stuff like that. I've done it a ton anyway, but Rhonda's gotten a lot of experience in the last month on sailing on and off of anchor. All right, so there's a couple different ways to go about this on the initial takeoff. A lot of it's going to depend on where you're anchored, what the situation is with the wind and the land and everything. Right now we have really light winds. We're not on a lee shore, so it's not real stressful. Today I went ahead and put the main up and depowered it. So the mainsail's all the way up, and the sheets let out so that it can't power up and start sailing while I'm trying to haul up the anchor. Sometimes if there's a lot of wind, you just want to put out a little bit of headsail, like just very little, like 50% of your headsail. If you have a furling headsail, tighten it up so you have just a little bit of maneuverability, a little bit of power. So have that out. If you're solo, then obviously you just got to go with it. But if you have someone at the helm, then they're going to point the boat so that it doesn't sail off and give you tension on the anchor while you're trying to haul up. But if you're solo, you just kind of play it by ear. Just kind of leave everything loose and hope for the best. But today we have the main up, so we're going to just quietly sail off. So we're in 9 feet of water right now, so 3 meters under the keel. It's very mellow, very easy today to sail off anchor. So the boat's powering up a little bit with the main up, but she's going to come back around and stop fighting me, and that's when I'll really start taking up the anchor. Here she is coming back around. Now a lot of this is like, if you're in good holding, none of it's really crucial until you break the anchor from the seabed, and that's when it's like game on. So I'm going to pull up until I can feel that there's tension from the hook being set, and then we'll reevaluate. And if you haul it by hand, you just pull in a little bit and you let the boat drift over the chain. That way you're not physically pulling the boat constantly into it. Okay, so we're getting ready. We're getting around the zone where it's going to break. Now this is an important thing. This moment is important because you want to set yourself up for success. So right now the bow's naturally coming back around towards the shore. If I break right now, we're going to power up. We're sailing into the shallows. So what you want to do is you want to just like relax and kind of maneuver it. And if you have someone at the helm, have them point you so that when you break, you want to be pointing off away from land. It's very, very critical. I mean, we could always come back around, but there's no reason to create any more sort of excitement or stress than needs be. And it's much safer to start this process where you're sailing away from land rather than trying to maneuver away from the shallows right away with very little wind, which means very little maneuverability. All right, now I'm going to have Rhonda head back to the helm so she can be pointing us off and we can be ready to sail off. We're up. So now she's gonna bring the main sheet in, get us powered up. Right now we're just kind of ghosting along. I'll get back to the cockpit and we'll get the headsail out and get to sailing.
Just like that.
That's just like that. You've done this a lot at this point.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot more relaxed with the whole scene. In fact, I feel like I like it better.
I love sailing off anchored. Feels fantastic. Even when you have to, it's fun. Okay, so we are approaching the anchorage. Once we found where we want to drop the hook, there's a couple different ways we can go about sailing onto anchor. Today we're just going to do it with the main because it's the most controllable. It's kind of the old school way to do it. We have enough wind but not too much wind. If you have too much, then you definitely only want to do it with one sail. If you don't have much wind, then it's better to do it with both sails out. But today, we're just going to use the mainsail. So we're going to get up close to where we want to be. We're going to furl in the headsail. And Rhonda's going to be at the helm, adjusting the main sheet, powering us up, and depowering the sail to kind of squeak us into where we want to be. Now, there's two different ways you can go about it. One way to do it is to quietly sail in, drop your anchor, depower your sail so you kind of coast in, drop your anchor, and then you push your mainsail back against the wind and it backs the boat up, which we'll probably do at some point today. Another way you can do it is you can sail in to the anchorage, drop your hook, and actually sail over your anchor away from the wind and pay out your rode, and then you lash it off, and when it sets, it turns the boat around. And then you get a really hard set. Now we know that when you're anchoring under motor, you never want to drive over the anchor, but when you're doing it under sail, it's perfectly fine and sometimes absolutely necessary depending on the situation. So we are ghosting into the anchorage right now, which is not a bad thing, but we have a lot of wind shadow, so not a lot of wind to work with. And with just the main up, you have less maneuverability, but it's not bad. You know, it's better to anchor on a slow pace than a fast pace, but it makes it a little bit tricky to get into position. So I just paid out 75 feet and we're going to try to get the hook set, and then I'll pay out the rest of the scope after I feel like the hook is set. It might not set because the wind's so light. That's fine. When the winds come up and change, or when the tide changes, it'll set. But it's always good to try to set it if you can. Okay, lock it off. And so I'm holding the boom out, which is going to blow the boat backwards. And we'll slowly drift down and set the hook. Now, hopefully you can see it on camera. The dinghy's coming around to the side. That's how you know we're going backwards. You could also set up your preventer right now and hold the boom out, which would be safer than what I'm doing, but we have very light winds.
And you can feel it in the helm. I can pretty sure we're set now.
So that's pretty much the best we can get it with this little wind. Like I said, she'll set. My anchor sets like crazy, so she'll set with the turn of the tides or if any breeze comes up. But right now I think she set a little bit, but You can't get a hard set when there's no wind when you're sailing onto and off an anchor. That's just the reality of it. So I hope this video helped you understand how to sail on and off an anchor. It's a skill that everybody should have. It's something that you should practice and be comfortable doing. It's a lot of fun.
It's lots of fun.
And you're going to want to know how to do it if you get in a situation where you have no engine and you need to do it. So now it's time for us to get the main down and set anchor watch. If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.